and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the Constant Coast over here.
Gavin Franklin.
And guys, we are here. We are at the end, kind of. The end and the death. Volume 3, part 1 of the podcast is here.
Part 1 of 3.
Probably. Maybe 5. I haven't seen the last page of this book. I do not know if it says to be concluded in the next episode or in the next book.
Well, this is it for us.
Yeah, if there's another one, I'm just done.
I'm
All right,
done.
podcast is dead. I don't give a fuck anymore.
I would literally stop this series and start a new one before I continue on the next book. Yeah.
But yeah, we will talk volume 3. Before we do, as always, check us out on our Discord, pin to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge, email us at theherесylodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. Valentine's Day is coming up. Your significant other wants Heresy Lodge merch. I know. They emailed me and said, Dylan, I need some merch. Tell my significant other to help me out. And I said, all right, I'll fucking tell them again, but these fuckers don't listen all the time.
We need the pint glass. We need the hat. We need the sweatshirt. The sweatshirts are nice.
They're nice. Like, look, if you're ready for baby making season, it goes with the merch.
What?
They see that merch and it's just like panties are dropping.
You ain't fucking unless you're fucking in a Heresy Lodge sweatshirt.
Goddamn right. Gavin. What are you drinking?
Well, I've made myself a drink because I'm at
an alchemist.
It's very bad.
Oh no.
I've regressed. I've decided that I've learned how to make one drink really well, and that's the old fashioned, and everything else.
Best on the market.
It's the best on the market. This is a brandy. It's a. I'm gonna call it a brandy plain. Is that it?
Did you just, is that the first word that just came to your head? You're like, that's gotta be it.
My phone's dead, so I can't tell you exactly what it is. It's a brandy something. It's a brandy something.
Like a sour? It looks like
it's kind of like a sour. It's very lemony. The camera makes it look straight up like pee. Like straight up pee color. It's not that bad. No, it's like it's brandy and rum with it called for orange grenadine.
It called for
orange grenadine. I just put in some triple sec, which is basically orange grenadine at the end of the day. It's just orange flavored sugar liqueur. But I don't know, I might be wrong with that. And then it's got a little bit of sugar in it. It's okay. I think I've got a delivery scheduled for mid podcast. I'll let you know when that arrives.
All right, sounds good. I am drinking in honor of the Ravens losing. It's the first purple drink I could find from good old Oaken Barrel, the Raz Wheat.
Yeah, I hate that you're drinking that.
Why?
Because out of all, I was there with you when you got the Raz Wheat. We watched the Ravens lose drinking beer at Oaken Barrel.
We did.
And that's like one of the worst Oaken Barrel beers you could have got.
I don't mind it. I like kind of wanted to get one of their newer ones, but I was like, man, I could not drink a whole growler of these.
Did you not drink a whole growler? I mean, Alabaster, I feel like it's amazing.
I've had Alabaster on the podcast too many times.
That's true. It's a good point.
So I was like, I'll get something different.
This beer kind of tastes like a beer made near raspberries.
Near raspberries.
And then they put food coloring in it, and there you go. Raz Wheat.
Pretty much. Yep. It's decent. I don't mind it, honestly.
Taste your own, I guess.
Yep. All right, Gavin. We are here. We're at the end. And I want to start this by what good old Raptor sent from, I'm assuming it's the like afterword, like where the author talks. Because I feel like this just says so much about everything. So there's a couple things I'll read here. I'll just
first off, before we get started, because this is an important place to do it. Spoiler warning for this book. Because people who may be chiming in that are new, we are just going to talk about the first basically third of the book.
Yeah.
And you may be reading it or looking to read it here soon.
Yeah. Realistically, like we would normally do a preview, but
With the Siege books, it's a lot. That would be like a
that
whole month.
and these are supposed to be all connected, all back to back to back. Fuck it. This is supposed to be one book, right?
It's one book.
We're supposed to be 2 books. Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck your preview. All right, let's begin. Nick Kime, my editor, said just write it. Don't think about word count. About 6 months in, as I broke the 150K barrier and realized the end was still a good way off, I warned him. That's because readers are subconsciously used to sensing the familiar arcs contained within the covers of a book. Yes, even one they know as part of a larger novel.
Okay,
Stop here and
first
comment
off,
on these.
let me comment on this. That is a pretentious as fuck statement to say that readers are
Yep.
used to sticking to the arc on the cover. Because we've done evaluations of this, first of all, and we found that, especially in the beginning of the Horus Heresy, the books that a lot of the books we enjoyed, by the way, the covers had nothing to do, or the scenes in the covers never took place.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very pretentious thing to say as an author. I think about all of the just like amazing book covers that you've seen in your life that didn't actually detail any sort of scene or event that's happening. Games Workshop locks themselves into that, and readers don't even hold that to a standard. So I think that's garbage. As a matter of fact, I think Dan Abnett or Nick Kime, whoever it is that designed this, did that to an extreme. The last book was Sanguinius Horus. Guess where the book ended? Right there.
Yeah.
This book is Emperor Horus. That's what that has to happen. If
I don't think it's
anything,
ending because they're already there and I'm a little over 100 pages in.
yeah. So if anything, I think that is 100% a writer decision and not a reader decision. I always hate when writers come in and say, "This is what my readers think," and they just write based off of that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Bothers me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, since familiar arcs, I don't
What's your thought on the word count?
fucking ridiculous. And I don't understand why Dick Kime was like, nah, man, just write it. Because goddamn, someone should have said, hey man, you should take a step back.
There was no editor. I feel like the editor just ran the entire book through spell check. It's not what an editor does.
Yeah, was that actually read or proofed?
Yeah, it's kind of miserable. Because we even now we're about a third of the way through the book, and there's a lot of story arcs where I'm like, are they ever gonna touch on this? Like Katsuhiro has not been mentioned once,
Nope.
and Shaban has not been mentioned once. I'm like, okay, first off, this is my thought on it. The apple, the bite of the apple that you decided to take at the beginning of this book was not as big as you're making it. But now, as you've filled the entire series with about how time and space is warped, now the bite is getting too big. Now you've somehow created this giant novel of nothingness until the very end, and it's like, oh my god, we have to finish this shit.
Yeah, and even then, like we get like there's characters named in this book already that I don't know who the fuck they are. Like there's a whole thing about blood angels like experiencing the rage, and I'm like, I knew 2 or maybe 3 of the like 8 they went through. Like I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah,
Like give me like just give me Raldoron, Amit, and Ascalon. Like I would have been fine with just those 3. The
yeah.
other ones, who are you people? I don't know you. I don't care.
100%. I agree with you. And you get to these scenarios where it's like, hold on, we're a third of the way through the last book, and we haven't even talked about Core Swain.
Yeah.
That's weird. We haven't talked about Katsuhiro. That's weird. We haven't talked about that entire entourage of people that are making their way to this weird storyline with Bo Fasal. We're trying to get the. We haven't even heard about Vulcan. Vulcan's not even in it. We haven't seen anything about Jagatai waking up. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, here's all these things that you invented that need to be resolved, but instead of resolving them, you spent $2 talking about how time and space are messed up.
Yeah. And we're still hearing about it.
Yeah, to this day.
But yeah,
However,
tough.
I will say I have enjoyed this book more than the last two.
So far, yes. I don't like how it opened. I don't know why he like just refuses to immediately piggyback off the previous book. Like I don't need to open to some like random new scene. Like open
What is the
up,
new scene? Gilliman?
yeah, Gilliman, and then it went to Lorgar,
I am
and then
okay
it
with
went to the
that.
next thing.
I thought that was cool. I enjoyed being like, well, I kind of hope he went a step further. I hope it was like, Gilliman, what are you going to do? Like, I'll tell you in 400 pages. And I'm like,
I would have
too much.
we should have heard from Gilliman the previous book, I think.
I agree. I'm just glad we're hearing from him now and not at the very, very end. And I'm
Yeah, I
really
just wish it
glad.
like wasn't the opening. Like I would have preferred like immediately like you open up to the Blood Angels succumbing to the rage.
Yeah. Or and it, like all these scenes I love, like I love the fact that like we got this POV of Porto Rabo, but I wish it would have ended with him like face to face with like Gilliman's army 2 books ago.
Yeah.
And then being like, oh fuck, as Porto Rabo's leaving, he's got to fight Gilliman, which is way, way more interesting than Titan battles.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it'd be hilarious if like Porter Bravo just pulls up, sees Gilliman's like, bro, I'm out. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
I'm fucking gonna. I thought that would have
Go
been a
on
great
ahead.
scene. That would have been an amazing scene where they show up and Porter Rabo's like, I'm fucking done with this. And Gilman's like, I want to kill you, but I can't right now because I got better shit to
Yeah,
do.
I'm
Porter
fucking
Rabo's
busy.
like, that's okay.
He just puts up like a big white flag on his ship. He's like, don't mind me, guys. Like I'm just peacing out.
That would have been
That
an
horse guy's
amazing.
fucked.
That would have been a great scene. Instead, you're right. We get all these POVs that don't really mean anything. And at the end of the day, even though they're cool, like I love the fact that we got Lorgar. I've been sitting here wondering where the fuck is Lorgar? If you think about it, the only four Trader Primarchs that are alive, actually five, because Fulgrim's a thing that was done dirty.
Yeah.
You got Fulgrim, Horus, Portorabo, Comrade Kurz, and Lorgar.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Also, like I feel like the Lorgar thing should just been like a fragments chapter.
That would have been better. I agree. That's a good point.
It I don't know. It just seemed really out of place and random at the
I
start of
thought
this
for a
book.
minute Lorgar was going to make his way and do something cool. But I'm like, no, we don't have time for that. It would have been cooler late earlier on.
Yeah, so just like so people will know what we're talking about. It opens up to Lorgar on this random planet where everyone worships the chaos gods, and they're all fucking weird. Of course they're fucking weird.
They're doing various different divination tactics, basically, is what they're
Yeah.
doing.
And one of them is all like, "Oh, we saw the angel die," and he's like, "Nice."
Sweet. It's like all the fucking word bearers are off on the side with like betting tables. Like, anyone have Sanguinius death? Yeah, like yeah, breaking that in.
Yeah, it was just like it was cool, I guess. And then he
There's no
talks about
reason for it
yeah.
because at the end of the day, if Lorgar's not going to do anything, who gives a fuck what he's doing on this planet?
Yeah, and I doubt that he's gonna be a part of Abaddon's story later.
What do you mean later? There is no later, Dylan. This is it. This is the end and death
Fair.
of Lorgar.
40K Abaddon.
Yeah, Lorgar is just getting hunted by Korax, as far as we know. Um,
Yeah. But
yeah,
there's
it,
more.
it would have been better if there was a betting table on the side.
They've been hilarious.
If Lorgar was like, "I'm not fucking there. I'm just having some fun." God damn it, Erebus got me.
So let's continue with this thing. Next little part. The multiple full drafts were a consequence of the fact that there were so many eyes on this project. There is a fair degree of scrutiny on work when it's being created for a valuable IP, and every book I've ever written for Black Library has gone through an approval process. I don't believe that.
Yeah,
But
that
the
seems like bullshit.
climax of the Siege of Terra is such a vital piece of lore. It had to be checked and rechecked at every level by the various divisions of GW and the very high lords themselves. There's more. Hold on.
I am
Everything
so pissed already by this statement, but go ahead.
everything that the community expected had to be there. Yet the novel also had to entertain and surprise, or it would simply be a particularly grandiose piece of colored text. I believe The End and the Death has a great many twists and surprise moments in it, far more than we might expect to fit into such a preordained story. These twists are precisely what a work of fiction needs to sustain it. Is there anything I can bring to this that will be unexpected without altering the lore or dashing expectations?
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
Terrible.
I hate that so much. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And this is what kills me about this whole thing. I know I've seen the guys across the table at tournaments. They'll be freaking pissed if Dan Abnett messed with the original lore that they grew up on 13 years ago.
If they read it.
Throw it away.
Yep.
Forget about it. You have the opportunity to make one of the greatest storylines of all time. And you trash it because some guys that were making a tabletop game 15 years ago, more now, over 20 years ago, wrote in a
Well, probably
paragraph
25,
about
30. It
things that happened.
was the
And
90s, wasn't it?
yeah, I think so. I think it's 30 years ago now. They wrote in a paragraph these things that happened, and Dan Adams like those things need to happen. So he's conforming, he's twisting all of his little lore tidbits and all of these things. He's writing enormous amount of fluff in order to get to one thing, one sentence that was said in these lore snippets. And we said abandon it, make something cooler.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the lore hasn't been rewritten. There's been so much shit that's been redone by GW. Like, this doesn't matter. Write to what you want to write here. If it's good, they're gonna let it through.
Well, that's what I think is frustrating is I don't think they would. Because if there is an approval process, now wait a minute. I said I don't think that's true, but I guarantee you that there's some guy in GW that's like, well, wait a minute, you didn't have Lycarius be first on the wall, and we wrote in edition 2 that Lycarius the Night Lords was first on the wall. I'm like, why?
Scribach.
Yeah, Scribach, whatever, whatever it is. I'm like, why? Like, make it better. I
Yeah.
mean, why are we stuck to these core rulebook scenarios? We have the glimpse, but we also know it's 10,000 years ago. We are writing mythology, but it's in real time. Write it cool. Like you have
Yeah,
this
at the end of the
opportunity.
day, like 40K, this isn't written history.
Yeah.
They don't fucking know. You're right, this is folklore. This is someone's random POV that may or may not have been there that heard this from 5 different people.
Oh,
Like
I'm
this
getting
is
hold up, I'm getting a delivery.
You'll drink,
Thing.
my lord.
What is this? Oh my
It's
gosh.
cherry blossom.
This is like this is a big ass alcoholic beverage right there. It's a cherry blossom? What's in a cherry blossom?
trees.
Vanilla vodka, black cherry rum,
Okay.
cherry pucker,
Okay.
schnapps, a little bit of lemonade,
Uh-huh.
a little bit of grenadine.
Sweet.
So it's 6 shots.
Not enough shots. Come on, Katie.
That wasn't Katie.
Who was it?
That was Katie's mom.
Oh. Thought
This
she
is as
set it
well.
off.
I'm at the in-laws house or the future in-laws house. I've got so much pull around here. She's over like, oh, do you want me to make a drink? I'm like, nah, I got the podcast, but I could use one mid-podcast. She's like, oh yeah, what time you want me to bring it up? I said 7:10.
Where we go?
7:12. She was a little late. I'm gonna give a shit for
No
it later.
tip.
But she is a viewer. She actually listens to the podcast. I didn't like so at some point I was like, oh no, you don't, I'm just messing around. There have been times she was like, oh my gosh, last week you guys were so funny talking about Valdor's spear or whatever it was. It's like, oh shit. She listens to the podcast. She loves me more than my own mother does.
Well, I mean, after she heard the dildo flail titan, she's probably like, I gotta fucking listen to
That's it. I'm sold.
that. Where do we buy these?
So what were we talking about? Wait, hold on.
Folklore.
Talking about how they should have written a better book.
Yep.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like it's folklore. This doesn't need to be gospel.
Yeah. I mean, look at what they did with Marvel, for instance. And I'm not saying Marvel is the pinnacle on which you should write your stories, because most Marvel storylines are very bad. But you think of Thor, obviously that's completely rewritten. That
Yeah.
is not how mythology worked. And now you have even Loki being a good guy. Think about if you actually wrote a really compelling story. It was like, oh, this is actually what happened. This is what we worship nowadays, but this is actually what happened in Greek mythology and why we construe it as this way. And Loki's a good guy.
Yeah.
There were so many good opportunities that were passed up in this book. They could have made it really interesting.
Yeah. I agree.
Loki.
And also, like, not everything has to be a twist. Like, I don't care that, like, sure, the blood rage thing, cool, whatever, went, I guess, as expected, but like, I don't consider it like big twist or anything. Like, maybe Ascalon being some weird fucking demon thing. Sure. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think Dan gives himself credit for twists that aren't twists.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Like he's saying, oh, there's a lot of twists. Like in the last book, Dan would say the Emperor being the Dark King is a twist. And I would argue, is it really though, if he just kind of gave it up? So it was really just like a 200-page scenario where it was like, oh, it might be the Dark King. It's fine. He's not going to be the Dark King. That's not a twist.
Yeah.
It would have been a better twist if it was like, fuck, the Emperor's the Dark King. We got to shut down Chaos God.
Yeah.
And then that's a twist. That's a huge twist. That's an M. Night Shyamalan level twist right there. But he gave it up because he was like, well, that's not what the original 2 paragraphs said about what happened between
Yeah.
Horus
And I
and the
imagine, like, so where we're at with Ol and John, right? So at this point, Ol and John are going around retying their little strings. And you have this moment where Ol's like, isn't it funny? What's his face said that it was his strings, but it was mine. I taught him that knot.
100%.
The whole like conversation with John and Ol honestly didn't even seem like either of their characters.
This is, I agree with you 100%. And this is why none of this makes sense to me, because any sort of editor going through here would be like, okay, I see that you separated John and Ol and then came up with a fictitious reason and then fictitious ideas on why they had to go a separate way and then brought them back. So you have somebody in the last book who's like, oh, these are my knots. And Dan's like, yeah, they're his knots. And then he kills that character in the same book. And he's like, I'll deal with that later. And then in this book, he's like, well, that person taught him how to tie those knots. So they're his knots. And then he made a statement about it because he was like, I guess that doesn't really make sense because, and I guarantee you an editor did come back and like, wait a minute, this doesn't make a lot of sense because so-and-so said they were his knots.
Yeah.
And Dan's like, I'll write an entire 5 pages explaining how it's actually not his knots.
It's
old
such
stuff.
an old type of knot
Yeah.
that Old taught him
It's
on the
just
farm.
silly.
Yeah. And then like they're talking about how like the string just never runs out and how they just feel so great and everything's healed. And Old's like, oh, wait a minute, everything's healed. And he pulls out the anatheme blade thing and it's perfectly healed. And they're like, oh, John, we gotta go back. It's like, oh, I guess.
I hate that storyline so much. That is like,
it's so dumb.
I hate that storyline so much. So first off, let's start at the beginning. From last book, the Emperor, Leetu, some custodian who I still don't remember the name of, and Loken are like, hey, let's go fight Horus. Sure. And John and all are like, wait, can we come with you? And they say, no, You have to finish what you started. And immediately I threw up in my mouth a little bit because I was like, wait a minute. Are we talking about time here? Because time doesn't exist, but it does. You have to refill the loop, is what they're saying. You have to go tie back all
And
these
they might have to
knots.
do it fucking forever.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not even done with that. I'm not, it's going to get worse. So they're going back, tying all these knots around these statues. And the conversation comes up, and they're like, well, if this gets resolved before we finish tying the knots, in order to make sure it does get resolved, we would have to traverse to the actual physical location and time in which that statue actually had the knot tied on it, because we're in an impossible city where time and space doesn't exist. And I'm like, stop.
Yep.
Why? Why are we introducing not only time, but also space, and the fact that it can revert itself and you need to tie knots? I'm like, this is such bad. Like, every writer,
The
like
twist.
101 writer is like, don't fuck with time, don't fuck with space. And Dan's like, I'm not only gonna do time and space, but I'm also gonna do it to such an extreme that it would take them millions and millions of years to tie all these knots that they would need to do for an event that was guaranteed to happen because they did it. But then if they don't do it, then everything. Oh wait, we don't know.
It's like some like Doctor Strange bullshit.
It's so
Oh, I saw
dumb.
5 billion possibilities. None of one worked out. And like that's like the bullshit we're going with.
It's so dumb. And then all of that gets thrown away. Guess what? None of it fucking matters. Throw it away. Trash.
The guy does it. Like, wait a minute. I just noticed my pocket feels a lot heavier and there's something poking me now.
Whoa. I'm an expert scout, a person who's amazing at military maneuvers. I have a big ass knife in my pocket.
Where did that come from? Holy shit.
What?
We should give that back to the Emperor.
Here's my second rant.
Also, if it's radiating so much power, right? Because it's back new. It's
Both psychers.
thirsting for blood.
They're both psychers.
Both psychers.
How do they not feel that?
Yeah. This thing that's thirsting for blood, apparently. Like you
All
think
right.
the Emperor would have been like, just got in your pocket.
This is the other frustrating thing to me. I mean, this kills me. This kills the entire story to me because I don't understand what the fuck is going on here. Why do they need to get this knife to the Emperor?
Yeah, doesn't the Emperor have a fucking like magic blade that can kill souls? Right? That's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So all and John are like, oh my God, this fucking knife. The Emperor needs this. I swear to God, if the Emperor kills Horus with this knife, I'm gonna be like, okay, let's backtrack the history of this knife. Because I've researched this like 6 times because I was like, what the fuck is this? This is a knife that All Pearson picked off of a dead body of a human cultist on Calth who was rewarded it by some random ass word bearer that has never been mentioned in any other story before.
Maybe the short story.
No.
When he broke him up.
Nope.
Oh.
I did the research. I was like, wait a minute. Could this be a shard of the Anatheme that originally killed
Well,
Horus?
let's remember.
Not the same
No
word
No
bearer.
Fear was a Dan Abnett book. So not a surprise.
He's literally like, he's like, oh, I guarantee you that Dan Abnett believes that this knife is what killed Horus originally. I'm like, well, first off, no and no. Because the writing of the sword, it wasn't a knife, it was a sword that killed Horus. Technically has it in 2 different places at the same time. One, Fabius Bile has it in his lab. 2, Erebus breaks the sword up into multiple shards and gives it to various word bearers, none of which are the word bearer that gives the knife to this random cultist on Calth.
Yeah.
So there is a random knife, and All Pearson is like, of all the weapons in the world, this knife This cultist knife. It's like almost like if you're going through like a, I don't know, any game. Like imagine you're on World of Warcraft and you kill a boar. It's like the fucking cultist knife of legendariness can kill all the powerful gods.
I'm glad you are in video games so that you can name items. The dagger of legendariness.
It's the dagger of 1,000 truths. I must get this to my son. It's the dagger of 1,000 truths. But and that makes no sense. It's not tied to anything. You literally have a whole story about how the Emperor's lightning creates knives called fulgurite strong enough to kill perpetuals. Is this one of them? Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Nothing. Thing that
I
killed
don't
Voldemort.
understand why the Emperor would need this knife. He literally has his own special magic blade.
Let's bring it even a step further. The Emperor's the one that repaired the knife when he was a literal god. And you don't think like while he's there, he's like, oh, that's a fucking useful knife that I'm repairing with my powers.
Yeah, that's true too.
You think he was just like, whoa, I didn't see shit. I'm out of here.
He was too busy. He had to start walking.
I gotta go. Like a Don Quixote, I gotta go. I gotta fucking get out of here with my knights. They do a little galloping out like in Monty Python.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining.
That's 100% what I imagine. Because it was like, oh, we just sprinted out. And I'm like, okay, I think it's supposed to be like this cool idea, like, oh, the four people who try to like save the world. And I just imagine them. this wasteland. We gotta get the horse.
Yeah, so you have that storyline going on. And
Yeah, that
let's
makes
talk
no
about the
sense.
Emperor. He's just walking with the crew. Not stopping, just murdering everything. Walking.
Can we talk about another trope that you should never do in stories? Time travel, distance travel. Third one that makes a bad story. I mean, he could basically be a writer for Vampire Diaries at this point.
Godhood.
Shutting off your emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't write that into any book.
Yeah.
Do you know how much readers wanted to hear about the emotional impact of the Emperor seeing the death of Sanguinius?
Yeah, and it should be impactful. I mean, you even have the fucking custodian who's like, oh
my God.
fuck.
Fuck, shit.
I mean, you literally have Sanguinius crucified.
That's intense.
Yeah. And the Emperor's just like, get him done.
Doesn't matter.
Fucking busy.
I hate that because this whole time, I've got so many gripes here about this. Dan, and this is why Dan Abnett did it, is because he can't write emotions. And I say that because you look at last book, all Pearson's been traveling with these people for 5 years. Closest friends, they all die. What's the impact of it today? Nothing. Forget about it. We're not even going to talk about them anymore.
We looked for their bodies for a second.
All's okay. Okay, closest companions, dead. It's fine.
Yeah. No,
No
he's
big
making
deal.
jokes with fucking John.
No, all good. They're all like laughing. I'm like, you would be so fucked up as
Yeah,
an
he's like, guess
individual.
what? We might have to go all the way back to fucking Cal.
Oh, that'd be so funny. Remember Cal? Yeah, all those people that came with me that died a second ago.
Yeah, like
Weird.
weird. So yeah, you have the emotions turned off.
Such
Can
a
I
bad.
talk about my least favorite line I've ever heard in my entire life?
Tell me.
Horace was smiling so loudly. What? We could all hear his smile. It's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
I agree. Like yes, I remember that scene. I was like, I literally tried. I think I almost died. I almost had a stroke. Trying to understand in my mind how a smile can make noise. I was like, okay, I get it. Like the smile's so creepy that the noise is
Like maybe if you had an iron jaw,
Yeah.
it would make a little more sense.
Can we talk about my favorite line
Which
so
one?
far? And this
Oh,
is
is it Dorn?
It's not Dorn.
Dorn had a good one. I like Dorn.
What did Dorn say?
When Acte was so just so everyone know, he like we remember he caught up with Acte, he like talks to her, she tells him Sanguinius died, yada yada yada, and he's like, well, want to call for some help? Like that'd be cool. I'm gonna go that way. And she's like, aren't you gonna ask me what side I'm on? He's like, if you're on my side, you're gonna call for help, and great. If you're not, all I did was waste some fucking breath. All right, it doesn't fucking matter anymore.
Good line. It's a good line. It was a solid one. My favorite one so far was when the Emperor and Horus are like talking in quotation marks. And it has everything to do with the audiobook. I don't know if you're listening to the
I haven't
audiobook.
got no. I normally get like the Kindle version and the audiobook because it's like a
Oh,
$7 thing.
yeah.
The audiobook was $30. It's like, nah, I'm just gonna get the book.
I could buy it with 1 credit on Amazon. So I've
Oh,
been
nice.
buying these with
I
Amazon.
I haven't gotten the conversation yet between those two.
Oh, there's a line in there that cracks me up.
You can say it. It's fine. I'll get to
Horus
it.
is like talking, he's going on a rant. And it's like a silly little bitch rant, honestly. It's such a little bitch rant. He's like, well, you can join my side if you want to, because I want us to be back, but you'd have to bow to me because I am all powerful. That's the whole rant, right?
Uh-huh.
It's so ridiculous. But the Emperor, it's very clear to the reader, in my opinion, that the Emperor's not talking to Horus, he's talking to like the Chaos Gods,
Yeah.
right? Because the Emperor says, well, why did you kill my son? And it's like, Horus is like, well, I killed Sanguinius because of this, this, and this. And like, I'm like, okay, obviously, I think he's talking about you. Like, you're dead to him,
Yeah.
conceptually. But at one point,
Twist.
Horus starts going on this rant, and the Emperor just goes, why? And Horus is like, in his mind, mentally, he's like, what a question. Final answer it. And he's like, why did I kill Sanguinius? And he goes off on this other rant. And then the Emperor's like, he goes, why? And in the mind, Horus is like, fucking why? Oh, he means why are we at war? Oh, why are we at war? And he goes off on this whole rant. And then the Emperor just goes, why? And Horus's mind immediately, and the voice actor does immediately goes, I'm gonna have to kill him. Like you just get this almost like moment where the child's like, why? And like Horus is just like going on these rants. He's like, that's it, it's fucking over. You're annoying the shit out of me. Like the way the audiobook is done, it just seems like Horus is just so annoyed at the Emperor asking why so many times. I was laughing. Why? I'm gonna have to kill him, aren't I?
I was really hoping for like a why are you still talking? But no.
I'm gonna have to kill him is fine. Yeah.
We have Bo's storyline going too. That's a really big story that everyone cares about.
I mean, he tries to escape.
Where was Andromeda during his little fight with the chosen guy?
She went down to check on the weapon systems with the
But
custodian.
he told them before she left. He's like, "Hey, I'm done." And they had like a whole conversation.
And she was like, I'm gonna go tell the custodian.
I figured I mean he was still talking.
What I don't understand is how they don't have like, I don't know, like walkie-talkies.
Yeah, or I don't know. You would also think that a guy chosen by Malkador is probably a fucking psyker.
How big is this tower? In
Well,
my
it's
mind,
infinite size
in my
because it's not
mind,
real.
I'm imagining that what's his name? What's the custodian? It's the big
That one is this one Raja?
no, Roz from the
No, Raja.
no.
There's Roger.
No, this guy's he's been like custodian for like a long time. Like he's one of the original custodians. He was the one in Blood Games.
Oh, you mean I almost called him fucking Amos. It's not Amos.
Yeah,
No, Amos is from fucking the Expanse.
it's Amos. Yeah, it's Amos.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Amos,
Amos.
but not Amos.
I think I read it in my head as Amos.
And maybe, I don't know.
But
Anyway.
you'd think he would just be like, peek his head in the door. Oh, I turned on the weapon system.
Yeah.
It's just a little library tower.
Yeah. They have to have a box system on them, I'm sure.
Yeah, he clicks a little button on the wall.
Yeah, it's something. Also, like, what's even the point of having the conversation if he's like in battle? Like, you're gonna run down there and be like, ah, shit, he's fighting. I'm
What's
gonna
the
go
point of
back
the
up the
story?
stairs.
What's the point of the story?
Agreed. I've been saying this whole time. It's a
So
pointless fucking
Lord,
story.
one of the things that Lorgar divinates is like some sort of like chemical reagent.
Yeah.
Like I know that doesn't happen. So is this a thing? Can someone read? I have not a single person has reached out to us about this yet. And if you're a person that has, then I'm wrong and I'm sorry.
It's gonna turn off and everyone that smells it becomes Death Guard.
Oh fuck yeah. I I'm just curious because like is this a thing that actually happens in lore? Like does this relate to something? Trainwreck would tell us. No one else has
But
told us.
I need some train wreck in my life.
I'm over here like I don't think this ever adds to anything.
There's no way it does. Because it's fucking dumb. There's no way because they're still fucking Astartes. So either it works and it gets rid of all the Astartes. It doesn't work. Maybe blows up. Maybe like one person gets sick. I don't know.
I could see this being a thing where like there's some short story in the 40K universe that Dan's like I have to account for that because it was written in this one sentence that virus was made during the and there's
All
like
right. This is my
hundreds and hundreds of pages.
here. I just figured it out. So what happens, right? Is this actually is going to mess with the gene seed inside of them. It doesn't actually kill them, but it makes it to where they can't create more. So that's why in 10,000 years, what's his face creates the other one.
Primaris.
Yep.
But what's his name?
Crawl.
Belisarius,
Belisarius, call.
who is also in the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, he's in that boat somewhere. A space boat. A space speedboat.
What's he doing? Doesn't matter.
Speedboating.
But he's a character now.
He's racing. Like any good speedboater.
Damn, this drink is pretty good.
Mine's alright.
It tastes a little like sugar.
Yeah, sounded like it.
It's very sugary. And I got a
Any
whole
other
fucking
storylines left?
there's a um Sigismund is there. I'm reading Sigismund right
I haven't got
now.
the Sigismund yet.
That's an interesting one.
Abaddon, who's just like, I'm gonna go fucking fight Valdor.
That does happen. I cannot express my frustration enough with how often throughout these books something happens to where some smart strategical genius goes, it's a trap, but I'm going to go anyway.
Yep. I
Doesn't
also hate how everyone just eventually listens to Erebus.
Yeah, I don't know why Abaddon was like, oh, I'm on the Erebus train now.
Yeah, he's like, I want to fucking kill this guy. But maybe not.
He was almost dead.
Yeah, he should be dead.
Erebus was like, yo, those guys aren't powerful enough to kill Valdor. They were. Valdor was about to die.
Yeah.
And then Abaddon was like, Erebus, I'm going to suck your magical warp dick and we're going to do some crazy shit. And then all the Justarian retreated and Valdor was like, it's a trap. But I'm going to go anyway.
You should have just poked the ship and found a different direction.
Yeah. South. I don't know the amount of times. And like none of it ever makes any sense. Obviously, we know Valdor lives. But it's like, I don't know. They're trying to hype up Abaddon a lot here, which I appreciate. I just wish they would have done a better job of throughout the siege. I liked that concept a lot when they first started harping on Abaddon because I was like, oh, They're trying to set up a really cool, interesting backstory for a character in 40K. And then they dropped the concept about halfway through. And now he's just like sucking Erebus's dick. And it's
You ready
really
for my next theory, my Abaddon theory?
Tell me more.
Abaddon gonna kill Loken again. And the second time killing Loken, he's gonna be like, I will slightly embrace chaos, but not fully embrace chaos.
If Abaddon kills Loken again, my question would be, why the fuck did Loken exist?
The hell with the drawings on the vengeful spirit, you dumbass.
The crowns on the vengeful spirit is why Loken existed.
If everyone just followed goddamn crown drawings, they would have already found Horus.
You know who we haven't seen in this book so far that I'm like, are they going to talk about that?
Who?
Fucking Ahriman sitting there with Cinderman in the library.
I don't know if it's in the character list. I don't remember seeing him.
I don't remember seeing him either. I'm just like, they're just like, fuck it. I'm not going to worry about that one. That's fine. I've got too much on my plate that I created.
There was also several names on the character list. I was like, I don't know who those are. There's a bunch of like White Scar names. I was like, I don't know any of those guys. And I like the White Scars.
That's tough, Dylan.
Yep.
That's tough.
But hey, we got 2/3 left to go, buddy.
I'm going to get through it. And then all those doubters out there, all those naysayers, I want to know, did anyone watch? Was anyone there for first episode release? I doubt it at this point. They probably all gave up on
Daniel?
us. Daniel was true.
They're a goddamn hero.
We made it. So, well, not yet.
We're there. I still haven't finished Angel Exterminatus though, so I might not ever be there.
That's right. You will never make it.
Nope.
But I am getting close. I oftentimes thought, have you ever had this thought where it was like, what if I wound up like right now in the hospital and they're like, you have a week to live? Would you be like, I need to finish this book?
No. No,
You
I would
wouldn't?
not. I would be like, thank God I'm gonna be out of my misery before the end.
I thought about this. I thought about this. Like, do I want to be the person that's like, I was this close? I don't know. What's weird about me is like I think life achievements, I'm like, I want to complete this book. But when it comes to video games or something, I don't give a fuck about achievements. I don't care.
I don't know. Raptor said that the battle between the Emperor and Horus is like a crazy Yu-Gi-Oh anime battle with cards and everything, and I'm just not looking forward to it.
Cards?
Cards.
Running cards?
There's gonna be some tarot cards. I guarantee it.
No.
Woo! Fuck yeah!
I'll tell you what.
Quiz.
I'm a third of the way through the book, and I kind of wish that the battle already happened because I feel like there's a lot of stuff left. If
Yeah.
Corvus Corax doesn't get mentioned or show up in the end, I'm gonna be pissed.
He's not. He's not on the character list.
The fuck is he doing?
They have a random a Death Guard guy that keeps being on the character list that is not in any of the books. And that's that Vorks, Lord of Silence guy.
Oh yeah,
Apparently people fucking love that character, and he's just not there.
I'm pretty sure that's who Sigismund is fighting.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't got the Sigismund.
You're
Oh,
telling
we'll
me
see.
Corvus Corax doesn't is the lion on there?
I don't think so.
What do they do? Is it just like, oh, the fight happened? That's it.
Probably. I don't expect a whole lot from this book. I'm going to be honest. I expect there to be another book for the lack of closure. Like you thought that was the finale, but here's the true finale: the Siege of Terra. The end. There's no death. That's just the end.
It's just there's no death. Fucking hell.
Yeah, things to look forward to. Anything else you want to go over here?
Misery.
God damn. Misery loves company, though, right?
I was excited. I planned to come into this podcast to talk positivity. I think it's you. You bring me down.
I think it is me. I don't even hate it so far. I mean, it's better than the other two so
It
far.
is better because it's not as much filler. Because Dan is like, oh fuck,
But it is still pretty dumb.
it's very dumb. Like at the end, like the
It's like
story
it's very
progresses.
cartoony almost.
Yes, the story progresses, and I'm like, I mean, at least we're doing something. I just wish it wasn't this.
Yeah. But hey, we're here. We're gonna finish it.
Yeah.
All right. That's it, guys. As always, hit us up on the Discord. Find that pin to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresiLodge@gmail.com. YouTube at the Heresy Lodge.
Merch.
Merch. Valentine's Day. Get laid. Get merch. Or get merch. Get laid.
Get merch. Get
There
laid.
you go. Yeah, baby. Next week we'll do the other third. Maybe we'll be more positive. Maybe we'll be more negative. Maybe we'll just be completely neutral and just numb.
Maybe it's we do a tarot card battle on the podcast.
I'd fucking beat your ass.
Dude, you don't even know what my tarot cards hold.
I have a psychic in the family.
Wait a minute. I believe in the heart of the cards, sir.
Not as good as I do, all right? I went through a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh in my time. I know all about the heart of the cards.
I believe harder in the heart of the cards.
I have the hardest of the heart of the cards.
That's exactly what
Exodia will come to me.
Bro, you're playing Exodia? Weak shit.
Fuck you. Goodbye, everyone. Best of luck. Exodia will be here next week. And don't even get me started on the Egyptian gods. Have a good one, guys.